Hey, something crazy just happened at Zhengzhou Sunac City. I got beaten up badly, and Li Jun was hit too. She's over there crying. They knocked me to the ground. Li Jun tried to record them hitting me with her phone, but they snatched it away. It's totally lawlessness. In our previous report, we highlighted the plight of a young couple who unfortunately purchased an unfinished property. This post-90s couple, named Liangliang and Li Jun, took a loan in November 2021 to buy an off-plan apartment in Zhengzhou Sunac City. However, in the summer of 2022, the Sunac City project halted construction, falling into an unfinished crisis. Despite having no home to move into, the couple still faced hefty mortgage payments, leading them on a long journey of appealing for their rights. The afternoon of November 15th, Liangliang and Li Jun went to the Sunac City sales office again to assert their rights and to demand the 20,000 yuan cash back previously promised to them. Instead, they were assaulted. We went to the Sunac City sales office today, and about 5 or 6 of their sales staff ganged up on us. Li Jun tried to protect me and got kicked too. They pinned us to the ground, kicking and punching us in the chest and head. Li Jun managed to record some of it, but they took her phone too. We still haven't found it. We called the police and they showed up. They wanted to check the surveillance footage, but guess what? Those guys had already cut off all the electricity to the sales office, so there is no footage. Li Jun's phone had the video of the assault, but now that it's gone, we have nothing. Following the attack, the couple spent nearly 4,000 yuan in medical expenses that afternoon, with no financial assistance from the sales office staff. Their car parked outside the sales office also had its tires maliciously punctured. After the incident, netizens discovered that all 9 of the couple's previous videos about their rights protection efforts at Sonak were deleted. This situation garnered widespread attention online. On November 19th, the Junjo Municipal Public Security Bureau informed the media that the police had penalized the attackers. Public records showed that Sunuk China Holdings Limited was once China's 4th largest real estate developer. In recent years, like Evergrande and Country Garden, the company aggressively expanded using a high capital turnover model. However, under the central government's ongoing crackdown on the real estate sector, the market has slumped. With no new buyers, developers' pre-sale revenues plummeted, and financing became challenging. Since the Evergrande financial crisis, many developers, including Sunuk China, have fallen into a liquidity crisis. The consequence is not only the unsustainability of their continuous expansion model, but also the halting of numerous construction projects due to broken capital chains. The most unfortunate victims are those who purchased these unfinished properties. They are unable to move into their new homes and continue to bear the burden of high mortgages. Commentators have noted that under China's pre-sale system for houses, local governments earn land finance and taxes. Real estate developers receive down payments, and banks profit immensely. However, everyone in the real estate chain can default without responsibility, leaving homebuyers to bear all the risks of unfinished properties. They cannot default and are not eligible for personal bankruptcy. In recent years, there have been increasing incidents of homeowners' rights protection actions regarding unfinished properties. One example is on October 10th. Homeowners of an unfinished building, Yufeng Garden in Baoding, took to the local commission for discipline inspection to appeal for their rights. Some unfurled banners, while others knelt on the ground pleading for a resolution. In response, authorities dispatched a large number of public security officers to suppress the gathering. According to prior online disclosures, construction of the Xiulan Yufeng Garden had ceased as early as September 2019. In recent years, the homeowners have made several collective efforts to protect their rights. Kevin Slayton, program director of the China Dissident Monitor at Freedom House, stated that the unresolved issue of unfinished buildings has led to a dramatic increase in protests in China. According to a report by Slayton, between June 2022 and October 2023, there were at least 1,777 protests related to the real estate industry in China, as recorded by the China Dissident Monitor. 2/3 of these incidents involved unfinished construction projects, delays, or substandard work. The rest were mostly initiated by construction workers demanding unpaid wages. Slayton noted that there are currently about 50 to 70 protests each month, with incidents occurring in 276 cities across China since June 2022. The prevalence of unfinished buildings has plunged many Chinese families into hardship. Last year, after multiple failed attempts at asserting their rights, many homeowners, unable to tolerate repeated delays in handover dates, sparked a wave of mortgage boycotts in several provinces and cities. The exact number of unfinished buildings in China remains unknown, as the Chinese government does not officially track these incomplete constructions. Data shows that, as of June, the combined contractual liabilities of 5 major developers unable to repay their overseas debts amounted to approximately $266 billion, roughly representing the value of homes they have sold but not yet delivered. Nomura, a Japanese financial services firm, estimates that China has about 20 million unfinished pre-sold properties. According to Ting Lu, Nomura's chief China economist, completing these homes would require about 3.2 trillion yuan, or $440 billion. Lu predicts that the Chinese authorities will ultimately have to fill this funding gap. Data released by China's National Bureau of Statistics on November 15th shows a 13.8% year-on-year decline in funds available to real estate developers for the first 10 months, worsening from the 13.5% decrease in the previous 9 months. A report by Nomura released on the same day indicates that China's real estate industry is collapsing, with developers facing a severe credit crisis. Homeowners are increasingly impatient with the continuous delays in the delivery of their purchased homes. The issue of delayed handovers could become a social problem, threatening China's societal stability. Whether the government can implement strong policy support will be key to whether people's confidence in the real estate market and the economy can truly recover, the report states. David Huang, an American economist, analyzes that the 20 million unfinished pre-sold homes mentioned by Nomura are not necessarily all unfinished projects. Those not sold or sold but unfinished, or not delivered after obtaining pre-sale certificates, are all included. However, a considerable portion is due to a lack of funding or market inactivity. However, the inability to complete 20 million homes represents a significant impact on society and the economy. Last year, Chinese authorities set up a 400 billion yuan, or about $56 billion special loan for construction completion to help cash-strapped developers complete pre-sold projects. The People's Bank of China also stated that it would provide up to 200 billion yuan, about $28 billion, in interest-free loans to major commercial banks that lend to developers for the same purpose. A local government official noted that relying solely on relief funds for construction completion is unrealistic. The total of 400 billion yuan in special loans, allocated to about 4 million housing units, is insufficient, considering just Evergrande alone has 1.5 million units pending delivery nationwide. At the same time, developers may not have sufficient assets for collateral. Even this limited funding is largely idle. According to the latest quarterly report from the People's Bank of China, as of September, the loan disbursement rate was only about 3%. Struggling real estate developers say they can't meet the lending standards of commercial banks, and unfinished projects can't secure financing. They also find it difficult to obtain loans from local governments, noting that the selection process for eligible projects is opaque and varies by city. Pang Ming, chief economist for Greater China at Jones Lang LaSalle, points out that banks are looking to avoid risks. In some cases, banks tell developers that they will only issue loans if the project has sufficient collateral to protect the bank from defaults. This collateral might include land and unsold apartments. Meanwhile, only a fraction of residential projects that are mostly pre-sold but not delivered on time are eligible for state aid. Analysts believe that although lending to developers has become a political task for state-owned banks, they still need to assess risks and avoid losses. The downturn in the real estate market means that the value of developers' assets are also declining, impacting their financing capabilities. Therefore, even if the Chinese government wishes to resolve the issue of unfinished buildings, it is powerless under the current economic situation. So, is it possible to rely on private capital? News on November 17th drew widespread attention. In Liangliang County, Henan Province, a private real estate developer invested 20 million yuan under the local government's connections to pick up an old unfinished building. But he ended up not only earning no profit, but was also imprisoned, facing betrayal and possible deliberate framing by partners. According to a report by Southern Reviews, a mainland Chinese media outlet, a housing project named Longyuan Community in Liangliang County, originally developed by Sunuk Company, started pre-selling homes as early as 2012. During the sales period, the sales office promised buyers that the building will be delivered by the end of 2015. However, buyers found that after the spring of 2015, the construction work stopped. It was later revealed that Longyuan Community only officially obtained the construction land planning permit in December 2015. This means that the developer not only started selling homes without any qualifications, but also the project became unfinished without having obtained legal construction procedures. Shortly after the project stopped, Sunuk Company started to default on their debts. Enterprise check data shows that the civil lawsuits against Sunuk Company surged in 2017, including disputes over house sales contracts, private lending, and construction contracts. Several courts began to seize and auction homes in Building 4 of Longyuan Community. Against this backdrop, Longyuan Community suddenly announced the resumption of work in 2019. Meanwhile, Sunuk Company continued to sell pre-sold homes, but Buildings 2 and 3, the main sales targets, still lacked pre-sale permits. Many people paid for homes without signing pre-sale contracts, making online registration and record-keeping impossible. However, Sunuk Company disappeared again after receiving a batch of advance payments from homeowners. By the end of that year, Longyuan Community fell into an unfinished state again. In other words, despite being under the supervision of Chinese authorities, Sunuk Company deceived buyers twice. In August 2021, Wang Xiaowen and Xu Qingli, a couple who had long been involved in real estate development in the area, came across Longyuan Community. With strong support and witnessing by the local Xianglushan town government, Luoyang Yuhao Real Estate Co. Ltd., owned by Wang Xiaowen, signed an agreement with Sunuk Company to take over the unfinished Longyuan Community project. They planned to invest 20 million yuan to revitalize this unfinished building, solving the problem of the building's unfinished state and allowing homeowners to move in smoothly, while also making a small profit. However, this turned out to be just wishful thinking. After Wang Xiaowen took over the unfinished project, he faced constant demands for refunds from original home buyers and claims from Sunuk Company's creditors. During the construction process, severe disputes arose between the two sides over housing ownership, control of sales, and other issues. As the construction of Longyuan Community's unfinished building was nearing completion, the Liangliang County government began to intervene. On March 20th, 2023, the official coordination resulted in a demand for Wang Xiaowen's side to exit and hand over the house keys and related documents. Sunuk Company was to pay back the 12 million yuan already invested by Wang Xiaowen in cash within 15 days. The meeting minutes also noted that if Sunuk Company did not pay this amount within the stipulated time, Xianglushan town government and the Housing and Urban Rural Development Bureau would each raise 6 million yuan to pay Wang Xiaowen. Although 12 million yuan was already lower than Wang Xiaowen's initial investment, none of the three parties fulfilled their promise within the agreed period, and Wang Xiaowen did not receive a penny. It was not until May 13, 2023 that Wang Xiaowen received only 2 million yuan. 5 months past the government-mandated deadline for payment. Wang Xiaowen and his team did not receive the money they were expecting. Instead, they were arrested on what Wang claimed to be fabricated charges. On August 29, 2023, Xu Longguo, Wang Xiaowen's business partner, was detained by the Yiyang County Police on suspicion of illegally absorbing public deposits. He was formally detained on August 30th, and Wang Xiaowen and his wife were listed as co-defendants, though the police did not take action against them at the time. On September 27th, the investigation of the case concluded and was transferred to the prosecutor's office via direct delivery. After review by the prosecutor's office, Xu Longguo was not approved for arrest and was released from custody on October 6. He is currently under house arrest, but Wang Xiaowen was taken away by Yiyang police on November 14th. In an interview, his wife, Xu Qingli, tearfully said, "We completed the unfinished building, but in the end, we were driven out. We didn't receive any money, and they arrested him." She said that they initially thought they could make a small profit and help the buyers of the unfinished building avoid disaster, only to end up criminally involved. The couple now deeply regrets taking on the unfinished building project. The entire incident appears surreal. The unfinished building had been unresolved for 7 years, until someone successfully resolved the issue. However, instead of rewarding such a beneficial act, the official response was to exploit the labor of others, fabricate charges, and oppress them with public power. This will likely deter private capital from taking over unfinished building projects in the future. The unresolved issue of numerous unfinished buildings will erode potential home buyers' confidence in the real estate market, creating a vicious cycle and rendering various policies to boost real estate ineffective. Continuous rights appeals across the country are becoming a nightmare for the Chinese authorities. An article on Sina.com, a major Chinese portal, states that in the second half of 2023, if the unfinished buildings are never delivered, 5 tragic scenarios will emerge nationwide. 1. Surge in bank bad debts. Under current home buying policies, buyers need only pay a 30% down payment, with the rest financed by bank loans. If the homes turn out to be unfinished, buyers may reconsider whether to continue their mortgage payments. If unfinished buildings are never delivered, buyers will inevitably choose to abandon their homes and stop making payments, leading to a surge in bank bad debts, possibly resulting in bank failures. 2. Hinder economic development. Real estate, as an important part of the national economy, is interdependent with various industries, including construction materials, building construction, design planning, decoration, finance, transportation, logistics, and more. The inability to deliver unfinished buildings will lead these related industries towards decline, affecting local government fiscal revenues, tax payments, land transfer prices, and real estate tax revenues, all intricately linked to housing price fluctuations. 3. Unavoidable unemployment wave. In a country like China, where real estate investment is high, the inability to deliver unfinished buildings will result in a staggering number of unemployed individuals. The unemployment problem will expand both within and beyond the industry, burdening families, society, and the nation. In recent years, due to the slump in the real estate market and economic development, many people have been unable to find work, and many have chosen to lie flat, a term to describe mostly young people rejecting to work hard or have ambitions. 4. Increase in divorces. In today's Chinese society, owning a house is a prerequisite for marriage. Essentially, no house, no marriage. Many families who bought unfinished buildings have ended up divorcing with nowhere to call home. The inevitable increase in divorces due to unfinished buildings is an unavoidable reality. 5. Numerous disputes. If unfinished buildings are never delivered, home buyers will inevitably have to sue developers. For those who choose to abandon their homes and stop making payments, banks will take them to court. Regardless of the outcome, disputes involving home buyers are unavoidable, ultimately causing suffering to the vast majority of home buyers.